Boy, do I have a story to tell. This story takes place approximately 5 years ago, back when I actually had a job. I wasn't working for myself. And I was working for, all I can remember at the time was I was working for this company doing work in a warehouse, and it was like 5 o'clock. And all I can remember for that day was it was summer, I was cranky, and I wanted to go home. So I don't have a car, so I go and I catch my bus. Bus comes, I get on the bus. I like to sit on the bus next to the back door, and my favorite spot was open. I was like, yes, awesome. I plop myself down in my favorite spot. I pull out my notepad, I put in my earbuds because I'm going to listen to some music and get some writing done. And I was just like, I'm going to vent this frustration I have for the day or whatnot. And I'm sitting there in the corner. The way it's set up is there is a wall dividing where the door is. And then there's seats that are facing to the side of the bus. And then over this way is all the forward-facing seats, and my bench has like about, I don't know, 5 seats on it or something, and then there's a back bench over there, and all my hands are off screen apparently. So this is kind of the scenario. I sit myself down in my corner, I kind of lean in there, bring my knee up, have my notepad, have my earbuds in. Next stop of the bus comes up, people get on and whatnot, and I hadn't started my music yet, but some people came on, and I swear, this guy starts walking past me, and he's like, hey, girl. And I'm like, oh, hell no. I'm like, I have my earbuds in. Like, he doesn't know any better. Doesn't matter, I don't have the music going. So, I'm getting into my writing, and press play on my music and whatnot. And I kind of, being a 5'2" female riding public transit through Wilmington and Compton and all that, you kind of stay wary, coming from Pedro, you kind of stay wary of stuff going on around you. Even though you're zoned into your thing, it's like peripheral vision is always on. And so it's like, I saw the guy, and he goes and he sits on the back bench, and some other guy sits there, and it looks like they're chatting or whatnot, and there's like other people on the bus, and it's actually pretty decent and quiet. And so I'm sitting there, and about 20 minutes into the bus ride, I see this hand with a cell phone just starts waving in my peripheral vision. I'm just sitting there writing, and I'm like, what the heck? Someone, needs my attention. So I pull my headbuds, and I go and I turn to the guy, and he goes and he sits back down on the back bench, directly across from me. There's nobody sitting in my row of seats, so it's perfectly clear between the two of us. And he starts sign languaging to me, and I'm just like there, and I'm just like watching him, and I'm just like, I don't know sign language at all. Like, I barely. And so he then talks to me. He's like, oh, you don't know sign language? And I'm just like, no, I don't. And he's like, okay, well, here, I'll spell it out for you. And he's like, I space THINK space YOU space ARE space CUTE. And I'm starting to get the idea of where this is going. And he's like, can I have, and I'm like, I'm smiling at this point, because this is like the most clever thing I've ever had happen to me. And I just slowly start shaking my head. He's like, as he's getting to the can I have your number part, and I'm like, no, sorry, you don't want my number. And he's like, I don't want your number. I'm like, no. And I flashed the ring I was wearing at the time, because, engaged, and he's like, oh, you're engaged? And I'm like, yeah, and at that point, I'm about to start, complimenting him on the fact of the way he was using sign language to try and get my number. It got my attention. I thought it was really cute. And so I'm smiling. I'm about to get to this point. And he's like, oh, you think I care? I think I'd be jealous? No, I don't care. What the happy face just quickly went to this scowl of like, oh my god. Because this, you know, I didn't want to start off the story saying it was some big old cholo with tats and a shaved head and all that, but he was some cholo with tats and a shaved head, and I'm just like, oh, seriously? So I'm like, I don't roll that way. And I have a naturally loud voice. And so I'm on the bus, I've got my stuff in my lap, you know, backpack is like behind me that I'm like leaning on, and I'm like, I don't roll that way, dude. He's like, you don't roll that way? And I'm like, I don't roll that way. Put my headbuds in and go right back to riding. And I'm just like, forget the world. Like, I'm, you know, I already had a bad day. And then it's like this. Next, within moments, some older gentleman gets up from his seat over here somewhere and sits down right in the middle of us. Right in, like, he doesn't sit next to me, but he sits in the middle of the bench, blocking the view between me and this guy. I had the impression that this cholo and this other dude that were chatting were making bets, because right at the next stop, he jumps up and gets right off the bus without saying anything, without doing anything, and I turn and he's like running back the way that we came from. So not only did this guy try to miss his stop to try and get my number, he like made a complete fool of himself in front of everybody because I just blurted out, I don't roll that way. And some other gentleman gets up, and I never said anything to him. I should have thanked him. I really should have. But it was an afterthought of what he did. And so it was just like, within about 5 minutes of me like, I cannot believe this, I start texting my boyfriend. But seriously, oh my gosh, it was, I just don't have words for the absurdity of what is wrong with you guys. But that's my story of the time I got hit on the sign language. So, gentlemen, if you happen to be watching this, I don't have a problem with you trying to get a girl's number. I mean, hey, how else are you going to get with a girl, right? But can you not be a complete dumbass about it? Like, seriously, even if you think a girl is BSing you, saying, oh, I have a boyfriend, I'm engaged, you know, I wore a ring just to wear a ring because it's the best excuse to get out of awkward situations. At least it's one of the ways. Other than being like, yo, you ugly, I don't want to talk to you. That's just plain rude. But seriously, like, if you think a girl is like just trying to blow you off, don't call her out on it. Even subtly, like, oh, you think I'd be jealous? Don't. You just look like a complete dick and just want to use it. Like, come on. Just be nice. Like, oh, you know, like, oh, gotta be a lucky fella. You know, just make small talk. Compliment her. You know, be friendly. I mean, seriously, you probably don't want to get with a girl who is so willing to just give you her number right off the bat, because unless you're really looking for the kind of trouble that comes with a girl like that, like, you gotta warm up to a girl who's actually going to be meaningful for you. You know, we're cautious, we don't want to get hurt, and we certainly don't want to find ourselves in trouble. We have to call for daddy to come pick us up. Like, that's just, no, we don't want to end up like that, you know? You know, and just be nice. You know, if you're actually a nice guy, be a nice guy. And I don't care what all the friend zone thing is about. I mean, I personally, I want a friend before a boyfriend. And so, just be cool, hang in there. So, just be cool, don't do anything stupid. Granted, it's gonna happen. We're human, totally understandable. Just laugh it off, roll with it. I mean, it takes a lot of guts to go and talk to a girl. I totally get that. It's the same for us. I'm an extremely shy person. Yeah, here I am finally in front of the camera. And just come. When you do stuff like that, it gives people like me, kindling for a fire to tell a story about your dumb ass. So, think a little bit. Don't go and make stupid comments like that.